right, time now for us to go viral. James Harden will look to bounce back against the Warriors tonight in Game 2, and he might want to take some pointers from this cop who hits the smooth step-back jumper in full uniform.
Yeah, that fella knows not to step under his landing area. Now give him a wide berth, sir. I feel like
James. That's not James.
Oh no, Jenna, just don't finish the thought. It's a nice video, a little community outreach in Philly.
Yes.
Seeing some kids playing ball.
Man, this is great right here. Absolutely.
Time for stories to
we
start
don't have
your
that type of
morning.
relationship with the police. When they stop us, it's for different.
Sixers-Raptors Game 2 of all the stars playing. In this one, Jimmy Butler was the featured attraction. He went off for 30 points and 11 rebounds in Philly's 94-89 road win. That series now tied at a game apiece. CC, you surprised the Sixers stole a win last night?
Not surprised, because Jimmy Butler, man, when you allow him to be aggressive, he was the primary ball handler in their offense for the most part of the game. Their bench helped them out. They don't have a good bench. And with Mike Scott being out, being able to get a win in Toronto, great team win. Good job coaching by Brett Brown. Great adjustments that he made in game number 2.
Defensively, Philly played almost a perfect game in the first half. Jimmy Butler was extraordinary throughout. They need Embiid to get healthier physically and intestinally.
He just had a little gas, man.
Well, no, it was a little worse than that.
Little bubble guts north of the border.
Ben Simmons seemed to expend all his energy on the defensive end. It was as poor offensively as you're going to see him play.
Yeah,
and
that's a good excuse.
Found a way to win.
Yeah.
It's not an excuse. It's what happened.
He disappeared. Sometimes it was 5-on-4.
It's just what happened.
The other game last night, Blazers Nuggets. Nikola Jokic poured in 37 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Denver getting the game 1 win, 121-113. Nick Wright, what did last night tell you about this series?
Look, Portland's got to play way better defensively. They didn't bring the intensity they brought on the defensive end against the Thunder to this series. And Jokic, hey man,
What?
He was great. Jokic, a guy who I think it's well documented, went from so underrated he became overrated over the last week or so. He's playing like those fans in Denver would say the type of player that he is. He's playing the way a real superstar should play. He was sensational.
Yeah, he might not ever be great on the defensive end, but he's a special player. His ability to be able to pass, he has an awkward offensive game, can shoot the 3, has a low post game. The national scene just haven't seen him a lot, so he's improving. Still a very, very young player. He is the superstar on that franchise, and he's the guy that you have to key on and stop.
My beef with Jokic is defense independent wasn't a high volume enough scorer. Was outside the top 25 in scoring. Now in game 6 against the Spurs, he pours in 40 plus. Last night's 37. Those are the performances.
Yeah, that's not an apology.
That distinguish you amongst your peers. I don't need to apologize.
You're getting there.
I'm giving him credit for something he's actually now done.
Moving on to the things we're seeing on our TVs. With the NFL draft officially in the books, the Super Bowl odds are out. And surprise, surprise, the Patriots are the favorites to win Super Bowl 54. CC, are the Pats the team to beat again this season?
Of course they are. Vegas is trying to tell you. They look at the schedule. They know what's going on. They know who the starting quarterback might be in Miami. Who? Second-year Josh Rosen. Who in the Jets? A second-year player. Buffalo. Josh Allen. Second year. Okay, so let's get us 6 wins right there. Home field advantage. Let's go to Gillette. Get you in the Super Bowl 54 in Miami.
Here's the thing. If the Patriots if they could win the Super Bowl last year, when they have the fewest regular season wins they've had in a decade, when they have the worst road record that they've had under Belichick in over a decade, when they don't have the road go through Gillette, then of course they should be the favorites this year. I mean, if last year was the year to get them, and the Chiefs had them and then let them go, so especially with the Chiefs dealing with all the things they're dealing with this offseason, they shouldn't come back better than they were last year. And so, of course,
even if the Chiefs did come back better than last year, the Patriots got a wild card in their back pocket. They went to Kansas City and beat them there. All right?
Patriots got it. On to the #1 overall pick, Kyler Murray, the Cardinals quarterback, getting ready and getting some high praise from his new teammate, Larry Fitzgerald, who said Kyler is, quote, a special talent. CC, with Murray the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, what are realistic expectations for him in his first year?
I would be careful. I would be very, very careful. I believe he's as talented as a quarterback that we've come in the league, especially guys under 6 foot. But is he going to have the things that support you as a quarterback? Drew Brees was not Drew Brees when he started off with the Chargers originally. Now, he could always very, very accurate with the football, but he was not a prolific passer of the football. Russell Wilson started with a defensive dominant team and a running attack. That's how he started off his NFL career. So he was supported. How are they going to support Kyler? Larry Fitzgerald's the nicest guy, one of the nicest human beings ever. He's the only one that can make their offense sound like it looks promising. Their offensive line is atrocious. And I don't care how big you are, how fast you are in this league, Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, they will tell you that rush will get to you. Potentially they're playing in one of the toughest divisions. San Francisco, look what they're throwing at you from a front four standpoint. Seattle, we know what they do defensively. And the Rams have the best rusher that we've seen in the NFL in a long time in Aaron Donald. So I'm careful with my expectations, all right, because that franchise right now, even with Larry Fitzgerald, they're not a great offensive team. And the worst part of their offense is their offensive line.
This is not a bet I would make. And it's nothing against Kyler. And because there was such a disproportionate number of defensive players taken high in the draft, there's not a bunch of great candidates for Offensive Rookie of the Year when you're looking at it, because you had 3 quarterbacks taken. You had the running back at Alabama. A lot of the wide receivers we thought were going to be in the first round fell later. So I understand why Vegas would say Kyler. He's going to be the week 1 starter. We would assume Brett Hundley is the other quarterback on their roster. It's another thing they might need to shore up, bringing in a veteran to help usher Kyler along in this process. But when you spend the number 1 pick on a quarterback, and when you only get a late second rounder back for Rosen, it is hard to upgrade what was the weakest point of your team last year, which was the league's worst offensive line. And offensive line not only made Josh Rosen look bad, made a healthy David Johnson look just wildly overpaid. And I don't think that's fair to David Johnson. It's just what he looked like last year, running behind that offensive line.
The other things I'm worrying about, Cliff Kingsbury. Now, we have seen the best in college football come to the pros and really struggle. He was not good in college. And the one problem that they have, if you criticize the air raid or the offense that they run, they have a problem with pass protection.
Yeah.
They don't make it a priority like NFL offenses. So now I have a coach who's unproven, wasn't great in college football, coming to take over a team that in his system, the number 1 deficiency is the inability to be able to protect the passer. So there's a lot of things that I'm going to have to be able to see. I know Steve Keim, I know the Bidwell family, they briefed Larry Fitzgerald, and that's their talking points, and that's what Larry spit out as the voice of the owner.
But how much more leeway is Kyler Murray and Kingsbury going to get that Steve Wilks and Josh Rosen didn't get last year? I mean, if it's basically the same nuts and bolts of this team, the same offensive line, yeah, he can run around a little bit more, but is he going to get more than a year to figure this out?
No, Kyler, you spend the number 1 pick on a guy, Kyler's going to get...
Hold on. They moved up to get the 10th pick on a guy. You would think they would have more invested interest in Josh Rosen making it work and sticking out.
Yeah,
and
but
next year they got a number 1
not more
guy.
than the number 1 overall pick. Kyler will get... Let's not start the clock on Kyler before rookie camps even opened up. Kyler's going to get... Teams don't... Rosen is the outlier situation. Teams' mistake on first-round picks typically is they wait too long to pull the ripcord rather than they pull it early. It's a very short list of guys where you're like, wow, he turned into a great quarterback. The team that drafted him gave up on him too early. It's a much longer list of, wait, they're still trotting Blake Bortles out there? Wait, Ryan Tannehill got another year? Go ahead.
No, we just talked about Drew Brees as a team that might have given up on. We just mentioned that.
So Drew Brees wasn't a first-round pick. Drew Brees also, he had a terrible season. He had such a bad season one year that he won Comeback Player of the Year the following year without coming off an injury.
And then he had a devastating injury.
And then he had a devastating injury, and they had Phillip Rivers in town. Like, they had spent a top 5 pick on. So that is the fact that we have to go back nearly 20 years to find Drew Brees. And because they had such a short leash on the previous coach and quarterback.
That they'll give them more time.
Absolutely. I mean, Kyler's going to be the quarterback there for his rookie deal, and they hope for the next 15 years. Kingsbury doesn't have that long of a timetable, but they're not going to go one and done in back-to-back years with coaches.
No, they made a mistake last year. It's not as if they're trying to rectify the mistake. they thought the kid was a special talent. That's what Steve Keim, I listened to all his interviews and everything. It wasn't as if we didn't believe Josh Rosen could be a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
We just believe that this kid is special. Much respect. First person ever drafted, first round Major League Baseball, first round of the NFL. I was talking to Jenna this morning. Imagine if this was Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson. How much confidence do we have in them? Now, this guy is a better athlete prospect than both of them based on...
As far as where they were drafted.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Celtics-Bucks series now. This is what we know. Giannis has put together an MVP caliber season. This is what we don't know. Where was that caliber in the Bucks' Game 1 loss to Boston? The Greek Freak finished with just 22 points, stymied by the Celtics' lockdown defense. Here's Giannis on if he thinks the Bucks need to make any adjustments.